we are used in states for disasters overwhelmingly. And our job is to, number one, be ready for our mission federally, which is to go to war. And number two is to help our fellow citizens here in the United States of America. Those
But
are
the Army
things that we prepare for and train for.
The Army War College 3 weeks ago issued a report saying they're shifting a lot of their focus to engaging the American people and directives on engagement with the American people under NORTHCOM. Now, this isn't, NORTHCOM isn't, part of our history. The National Guard being federalized as a full integrated force, that is new. That is different.
Well, you got to remember that the National Guard, 99% of the time, if you're talking about peacetime, belongs to the state in which they are located. Only on occasion do they become federalized. One of those examples, of course, is being mobilized and deployed to go to war or peacekeeping or other kinds of federalized missions. But other than that, the National Guard generally in peacetime belongs to the governor of that state.
Absolutely. We know that they're federalizing the police. We know that National Guard and regular Army on ABC News and NBC in high and dry areas went in, handcuffed Americans, and confiscated their firearms in New Orleans and surrounding areas. We know that the city officials were told to stand down. I've had them on. We also know that I've had state reps on, probably more than 20 of them the last 3 weeks, saying they're passing 10th Amendment resolutions, preparing to tell the state police and others to resist federal occupation of the states because the Pentagon's directive says that the governors will be federal officers serving at the pleasure of the president, and that the Congress, under PDD 51, you can go read it, sir. I bet you've even seen the classified version.
I've read parts of it.
Congress isn't even allowed to see that, by the way, what you've been allowed to see. Congress was told. I mean, is that how the branches of government work, is to have Congress told they can't see all of PDD 51?
I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm not here for political discussion. I work for the people of the United States of America. I'm a soldier. Every day I put on the uniform. Politics, I leave that to the politicians as well as our.
But what have they told you about the president? We're hearing about this new oath to the president. I mean, have they explained that the Congress is co-equal, at least with the executive?
I mean, the Constitution clearly sets aside the three branches of government as the defining way in which we find our political means here in the United States of America, and I would defer to the Constitution.
Well, thank you. That's heartening, because this is mainstream news that for a year the Homeland Security Committee in Congress has asked to see PDD 51 in its entirety. The front page says the president's a dictator under any emergency, and they're not allowed to see it. I mean, that sounds like some third world country.
Yeah. I mean, what I can tell you about what we do here in Iowa is, number one, defend the Constitution of the United States, and number two, provide assistance to the people of Iowa in times of need. Those are the things that we're concerned about. Those are the things that we train about.
All right, let me just ask you this question, sir. Can you go over, I guess, did you or someone else give an interview to this Daily Times Herald? Because this has them shutting down part of the town, going door to door, and asking about firearms and pictures on the walls, asking where's the arms dealer. And now we're hearing the military may be used, to go after guns. I mean, I'm having congressmen on about this. So, sir, I mean, I've had two congressmen on the show who were threatened with martial law by the presidency under Bush if they didn't pass the bailout bill. And I'm just trying to educate you, but obviously you know all this. I mean, tell us what's going on with the drill. I mean, is this accurate, what's in the article?
Well, what I can tell you from the article is that, again, it's simply a training event. We are simulating those kinds of environments that our soldiers go into in Iraq and Afghanistan specifically in harm's way to conduct these kinds of missions. Again, we don't have any kind of extensive urban training environment in the state of Iowa, as we don't have any active duty bases here. That being said, it's our job to be able to give our taxpayers the absolute best value we can for their dollar by providing our soldiers with the best training possible with those resources that we have. So that's exactly what we're doing. It has to do with training for combat missions, not for any kind of mission here in the United States.
Sir, they've had urban
soldiers doing.
They've had urban warfare drills with the Marines and the Army all over the country, right next to military bases. And I always hear this psyop, as the people are subdued in the info war, that, we need this for real life, this and that. I'm showing on screen right now video of Marines interrogating role players saying that they're from San Francisco. Okay, on screen right now, they're asking the role player where he's from. He's saying, I'm from San Francisco. And they're asking him where he got weapons. In fact, can we fade the audio up of this? Back it up about 15 seconds, and I want folks to hear this right now. I mean, I want this colonel to hear this, because I've been there. I mean, I know what's going on. I know they tried to hire Smedley Butler, who was the top Marine in the country, to have martial law in 35. I mean, sir, you know historically there's a danger of militaries being used by the executive branch to subdue populations, and there's talk of breakdown of society and rioting right now?
Well, I mean, what I can tell you is only what we do here in Iowa, and that's to be prepared to go to war, be prepared to help people here in the United States. Those are the things that we do.
So what if there's a situation like New Orleans and you're told to go into people's houses and confiscate their firearms? I mean, they did that in Louisiana and Mississippi. I mean, would you be part of that in Iowa?
We haven't been asked to do that in the state of Iowa in the history of our state. We've been around for 170 years, the Iowa National Guard. We started as a territorial militia. And like I said, we uphold the Constitution and advocate for the Constitution every day in what we do. And what I can
But things are different now. That's the whole point, sir. We know you've been around for a long time. The point is things are changing. That's the whole point we're trying to make, Colonel.
The point that I'm trying to make is you've trotted out this parade of horribles, of which I can't possibly comment. All I can tell you about is what we do here in Iowa to get ready. That's specifically what I'm going to talk to you about.
Yes, sir, Colonel. We appreciate that. We respect your the fact you're being cordial while you're being interrogated. It's just we're upset because we're educated. We know what's going on, and people are going to remember what you've said here today as things unfold. Understand, we've told the whole world what's going on. We know what's going on. I understand you're compartmentalized, but you've got to really be having your head in the sand to not see what's going on. I know this has dual use in Macedonia or Iraq or Afghanistan. But I know, and we've interviewed generals. We've interviewed the former head of special forces on this show. Okay, we've interviewed congressmen. They know what's going on, sir. And I'm telling you, you can't deny what's happening. Don't be like the people of Germany or Russia, the military that denied what was right in front of their face.
Okay. Again, I can just tell you what I see here in front of me every day. I see 9,500 men and women that are committed to liberty, that are committed to the United States of America, committed to the state of Iowa, doing the absolute best that they can do to take care of people. That's what I can tell you about.
Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel, did Iowa send any Guard troops to New Orleans?
Yes, we did. In fact, I was there myself as well. We did send approximately 400 that were in Mississippi and some that were also in New Orleans as well.
Did you take part in the gun confiscation?
We did not take part in any of those kinds of operations.
Did you witness it?
Did not.
The Lair NewsHour has reported, as well as the other programs of Bill Moyers, that mercenaries were also used from Israel and Blackwater. Did you see those guys?
No information about that.
No information? I mean, you didn't see them, or no information?
Didn't personally see it.
What about the Mexican troops that helped give everybody soup to set that precedent? Did you see any of them?
Didn't see any of those either.
Now, Colonel, you're laughing a little. You certainly know that Mexican troops in New Orleans, in Houston, and in Austin and San Antonio gave support to the effort.
That's the first I've heard of it. Please forgive my ignorance.
Folks, Google for everybody, because some may not believe it. Mexican troops aid New Orleans, and we'll put it up on screen for folks. Colonel, I've been ranting at you. I want to give you a few minutes to just talk about whatever you'd like, and then I'd like to do a final 5 minutes with you going through this article. I mean, explaining exactly what they're going to do door to door with the houses, what the checkpoints are going to be simulating.
Sure. When you're talking about coordinate search operations, you've got several different rings of security that you've got to provide in a particular area, and then it's important that people are treated respectfully as you go house to house. As you're looking for certain items, particularly in our experience in Afghanistan and Iraq, looking for weapon caches, whether those have AK-47s, RPGs, rocket-propelled grenades, that is, any kind of ammunition or any kind of improvised explosive devices, et cetera, et cetera. And our job, when we go on a coordinated search, is to locate those kinds of items. And then there might also be persons of interest that we're interested in that coalition forces want to talk to or apprehend. So, I mean, simply because of the environment in which we live in Iowa, that we don't have an active duty base, that we don't have a very extensive urban terrain environment available to us for training, then we have to get creative, and we do occasionally go into communities and work side by side with them to use the communities for our training, and this is an example of that.
Colonel, I find it really hard to believe that you don't know about what the Guard did in Iowa in 2002 when it was on the local newscast, and we're going to dig those out. And I really find it hard